What's up everyone, it's Ortheore here, ready to bring you a battle between ZoroDark and Leon. The tier is black and white 2 Ubers. Both these guys are very skilled battlers, so let's get into it. Looking at the teams, we can see ZoroDark's running a team consisting of Deoxys A, Genesect, Giratina O, Mewtwo, Groudon, and Palkia, while Leon's running a team consisting of Groudon, Ho-Oh, Palkia, Cloyster, Genesect, and Arceus. So, looking at the teams, we can see that Leon, he has the team advantage, I'd say, as Ho-Oh is a massive threat. Nothing on ZoroDark's team really takes it on all that well. I mean, Groudon and Sun takes a ton from Sacred Fire and there's that burn chance. Palkia doesn't do too well in that matchup either because of the Sun. So, yeah, big threat there. Key for ZoroDark, definitely hazards. He's going to absolutely need Stealth Rock up to keep Ho-Oh in check, and also he's going to need hazards to wear down that Genesect. He's running quite an offensive team, and Genesect poses a pretty major obstacle to a lot of his threats, particularly Mewtwo, which looks to be his primary win condition. Now, on to the battle. ZoroDark's going to lead with Genesect looking to grab momentum right away, and Leon leads with his Groudon. Like I said, ZoroDark's looking to grab momentum, so he's just going to go straight for the U-turn. However, that's pretty obvious, so Leon's going to take that opportunity, get his Stealth Rock up, as ZoroDark is going to U-turn out into his Deoxys A. Now, Leon absolutely doesn't want Deoxys A getting hazards up. It's a pretty safe bet that it is going to be running hazards because of Giratina O, that is spin block, so he's going to go into his Cloyster, which can spin away hazards. Giratina O can't spin block it because of its Ice Stab. And yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Deoxys A sets up a layer of spikes as he goes into his Cloyster. Leon's going to spin them away as Deoxys A goes for the Psycho Boost, bringing Cloyster down to its sash, and it's then finished off with an extreme speed. Leon's now going to bring out his Genesect, which is in a win-win situation as it can either revenge with U-turn, or if ZoroDark switches out, he's going to grab momentum, so that's exactly what he's going to do. U-turn out, ZoroDark switches out into his Giratina O, and Leon takes this opportunity to bring in his Ho-Oh, which isn't really threatened by anything Giratina O commonly runs. Ho-Oh just going to go for the Sacred Fire, why not? And Giratina O phases it out with Dragon Tail. In comes Palkia. Leon gonna predict ZoroDark to go out into his only Dragon Resist, his Genesect. Goes for the Fire Blast. However, by this stage, Giratina O's weakened to the point where it's not going to accomplish much. So, ZoroDark's just going to leave it in as death fodder, spamming Shadow Sneak just to get some damage off before it dies. Leon sees this, so he's going to switch into his Genesect, finished off with a U-turn, and gain momentum that way, bringing in his Ho-Oh. Now, ZoroDark's going to opt to bring in his Deoxys A and set spikes up, get those hazards. Like I said, they're going to be very important. However, Leon reveals the Tailwind on his Ho-Oh. It's not a common variant, but it is potentially very devastating, and it really puts ZoroDark on the back foot. However, the following turn, we get some incredible hacks as ZoroDark goes for the extreme speed, it crits, and on top of that, Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire misses. ZoroDark's going to follow that up with a great play, goes for the Psycho Boost as he predicts Leon to roost, and that'll put Ho-Oh in extreme speed KO range, forcing it out, and Leon's going to go into his Genesect to take that extreme speed. This time, ZoroDark opts to leave his Deoxys A in, fodder it off to U-turn, and Leon goes out into his Arceus, in response to which, ZoroDark goes out into his Palkia, which is kind of interesting, as normally a nearly fresh Arceus will actually use Palkia as setup fodder, as this is Arceus normal, likely to be an extreme killer variant, and that's what we're going to see here. Leon goes for the Swords Dance boost, but ZoroDark reveals that Dragon Tail, phases it out into Palkia. Now, both players are going to go ahead, leave their Palkia in, and ZoroDark wins the speed tie, goes for the Spatial Rend, and KOs Leon's Palkia. Leon brings in his Genesect to revenge with boosted U-turn. ZoroDark's gonna go out into his Genesect to take that, takes about 30%, and Leon is gonna bring in his Ho-Oh. Now, it's within range of an explosion KO, so he can't afford to leave it in. Switches right out into Groudon, gets that Regenerator boost to his HP, which is going to be absolutely vital. However, ZoroDark makes a pretty neat prediction, goes for the Ice Beam, and after spikes, that's going to be a KO on Leon's Groudon. Now, following this, Leon's going to send in his Arceus, set up with Swords Dance. However, ZoroDark absolutely doesn't want to give Arceus free setup turns, stays in with his Genesect, goes for the Ice Beam just to get some damage off. Leon grabs that +2 boost, KOs the Genesect with the boosted extreme speed, and ZoroDark sends in his Groudon to finish off the Arceus. It does so, but it takes a hefty chunk of damage from that boosted extreme speed, and at the amount of HP it's left at, it's really not going to accomplish much. So Leon sends in his Genesect, finishes it off with Ice Beam, and the scores are left tied at 2 apiece. ZoroDark still got his Mewtwo and his Palkia, while Leon still has his Genesect and his Ho-Oh. ZoroDark sends in his Mewtwo, finishes off the Genesect with Psystrike. Unfortunately for him, it couldn't set up because between Ice Beams and Recoil from Life Orb, it just would have taken too much damage. So yeah, Genesect's KO'd. Leon sends in his Ho-Oh, sets up Tailwind, takes a pretty hefty chunk of damage from Psystrike, but is easily able to KO the following turn with Sacred Fire. So now it's down to Palkia and Ho-Oh. This battle's absolutely going down to the wire, and Brave Bird KOs the Palkia, but the recoil from Brave Bird also finishes off the Ho-Oh, so this battle ends in a tie. Wow. It should be noted though that the self-KO clause was in effect, so the battle was awarded to Leon, but man, what an incredible finish. Obviously, Ho-Oh was absolutely a monster in this battle. However, shouldn't overlook Genesect, as that played a huge role in the battle, stealing momentum away from ZoroDark, which was absolutely key as ZoroDark's team totally relied on momentum and really helped facilitate that Ho-Oh in being such a huge threat. Anyhow, that's the battle. Thanks for watching. If you guys like this battle, feel free to like it, subscribe to the channel. If you've got any feedback, please let us know, leave a comment down below. If you want to get involved with the PO YouTube channel, we're more than happy to have any help. If you want to get involved, just head over to the Pokemon Online forums, check out the YouTube channel subforum, and go from there. Anyhow, thanks for watching, see you guys later.
Alrighty, this is BCV here, narrating a pretty good match for you. Now, I didn't participate in this match at all, because as you're gonna see, it's between ZoroDark and Masters Leon, but I'm gonna tell you, it is quite the interesting match, alright? It's got a few things that you're not exactly gonna expect, but anyway, let's go ahead and look right at this team preview. Masters Leon is bringing a pretty offensive team, because just take a look at it. He's got Cloyster, which isn't something you really see in Ubers, but you generally expect it to be Shell Smash, but then he's got that Arceus normal, he's got that Genesect, Palkia, and Groudon can even be offensive sometimes, and then of course Ho-Oh. So his team pretty much looks like it's gonna destroy anything. And then as we go over to this other team here, it's a little bit more interesting. I mean, it still also looks to be offensive, but it's gonna surprise you. It doesn't exactly come out the way that you'd think. It's not, I mean, it's weird. It's really weird, because his Deoxys attack does something that pretty much I guess I don't see happen very often. Maybe it is normal, but I don't usually see Deoxys attack do this. It might surprise you, but I'll tell you, it certainly surprised me. But anyway, yeah, when we see his team there, it also looks fairly standard, except for the fact that what their actual moves and whatnot seems a little interesting. But apart from all that, let's just go ahead and get right into this match, because I'm going to tell you, the ending is just incredible, and you're not going to want to miss it. So let's go ahead and see this. So as we're going to go ahead and get right into this battle, you're going to see what I say when I mean that it's interesting. Now, he's going to go ahead and lead off with his Genesect, which is definitely going to be getting that download special attack boost. Now, what's interesting though is that Masters Leon, even though that Genesect could have gone for the fairly common Ice Beam, he's going to stay in though, predicting that you turn out. So that was actually a pretty nice play. So this allows him to get his Stealth Rocks up. Now, this is what I said when I mean that it's interesting. This Deoxys attack form, not speed mind you, but attack form, has the spikes. Now, generally, I don't see Deoxys attack form doing that. I can't say that I really play Ubers all that much, but I really don't see Deoxys attack form doing that. It's usually speed that sends up your entry hazards. Now, what's interesting though, is that this thing also has Psycho Boost, and that's not a move I commonly see used either. Now, you think it might be, since with that huge base special attack on Deoxys attack form, and then the fact that it's got a huge base power, you think it'd be a common move that it uses, but the fact that it doesn't hit hardly any Ubers super effectively, since it's only super effective on, what, fighting and poison type, it doesn't seem like a move that it'd be using that often, and he used it there, so that's why I was so surprised. But anyway, what we're gonna find here is that this Giratina origin form is bulky. Now that's really interesting, because it's usually the land form that's usually the one with your common Dragon Tail and whatnot, but surprisingly, this thing here has got the Dragon Tail to phase out, so that's kind of interesting. Since you're moving after, generally you'd want to have the bulk to be able to take hits and whatnot. So the only thing, though, to consider is the fact that Giratina origin form actually has the levitate, so that makes it useful there. But now, finally, as this Genesect is going to KO the Giratina, what's going to happen here is that the Deoxys attack form is going to come right back in onto this Ho-Oh. Now, he's going to set up another layer of spikes here, and he can't rapid spin them away this time because his Cloyster is gone, so he's certainly going to have to be aware of the fact that spikes are up on the field, because that is going to make a difference here. Now, he's going to go for the Sacred Fire and miss it, which is quite unfortunate for Masters Leon, because that definitely would have taken out the Deoxys from this point. And as you see him go for the Psycho Boost, he's going to do a ton of damage to Ho-Oh, so that Sacred Fire miss was kind of a little devastating there. But anyway, what's going to happen is, as he does bring this thing in here, gets that special attack boost, he's going to go for the Extreme Speed, which he predicted quite nicely, Masters Leon did there, because the Genesect could take it nicely enough. Now, here's another thing. The ZoroDark over-predicts a little bit, leaves his Deoxys attack form in as the Genesect goes for the U-turn and gets the KO on it. I mean, he probably could have switched something else in to take it nicely, but perhaps he thought he was going to go for Ice Beam, predicting a switch into Groudon or whatever. But anyway, what's going to happen here is, this Palkia is interesting enough because it also has Dragon Tail, but not only that, but it outspeeds this Palkia and gets the Spatial Rend off, which is just, what? So not only is it mixed, but it outsped another Palkia, so it's got to move with low priority, yet it probably has speed investment, so you understand what I'm saying when this battle's a little crazy. It's not stuff you see every day. Now anyway, what's going to happen here is he's going to U-turn out and go right back into his Ho-Oh to take pretty much any hit from the Genesect, but this is kind of where a little bit of an over-prediction comes in. He's going to bring in his Groudon, though, to take, I don't know, the U-turn out. ZoroDark is going to predict that, go straight for the Ice Beam, and now he's going to lose his Groudon for no reason, because as we're going to find out, that he's just going to bring his Arceus right in, which he could have done from the start. So now he's lost his Groudon for pretty much no reason. And what's going to happen here, though, is interestingly, this Arceus has enough attack stat that after this Swords Dance, look at this E-Speed, it is going to KO that Genesect, even though it's resisted. So that was pretty nice right there. So even though there have been, it's not been so great for Masters Leon, at least it looks like he's pulling himself out of it here, doing a ton of damage with that Arceus. Now, unfortunately, this Groudon is going to be able to live it, though, because, it's bulky. It's got a pretty big defense stat, and that is going to have to be the end of the Arceus. Now, as he does bring in the Genesect and takes the spike damage and even gets a special attack boost, he's going to go straight for the Ice Beam and get the KO onto that Groudon, which is pretty important there because now it's not going to be the issue that it was before. Now, as this Mewtwo does come in, though, this is where it gets a little interesting. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, and since he got that special attack boost, that's going to be pretty helpful and do a ton of damage to this Mewtwo. And after this Life Orb, you're going to have to take a look at this right here. This is interesting. Now, as he brings in Ho-Oh with Regenerator, he's going to take the Side Strike, get off a Tailwind here, so now the Ho-Oh's faster, and just look at this. This is what I'm telling you. He's going to go for the Sacred Fire, get the Mewtwo KO'd, and look at this right here. I mean, this ending is crazy. He's going to bring in the Palkia, and this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to go down. He's going to go for the Brave Bird, get the Palkia KO, and the Ho-Oh is going to go down too. It's going to be a double down, but because of the specific clause here, Masters Leon is going to win the battle. That was actually really cool. And I mean, I know that ZoroDark was bringing some stuff that you don't usually see, but hey, it was kind of effective, I guess. I mean, the Dragon Tail on Palkia was not something that I would ever predict happening, but it was pretty cool, I mean, he got it this close. It was literally a double down on the last turn, which made this battle pretty epic, but, yeah, that was kind of neat. So this was an Ubers match between Masters Leon and ZoroDark. I really did enjoy it, even though it wasn't exactly something that you'd expect to see every day, but yeah, it was pretty nice, I'd certainly say. So, that Deoxys attack form was a little intriguing, I must say, but from this point, it is going to have to be BCV signing out here.